Will Biden's pandering fool black voters again? The sad short answer is yes. Now, even though more and more black folk like myself is waking up to the fact that the Democrats are the terrible option for black folks, they are the cause of most of our problems. Even though they try to pretend like they care about normal, average people, they really don't. The sad truth is that they continue to fool black people. But again, there is some bright news. There is some good news. More and more black people are waking up and getting off the Democratic plantation. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon, and that's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. All right, so let's talk about this news now. This comes from the Spectre, David Catron, and he reports that despite a growing number of national and swing state polls that show black voters shifting their support from President Biden to former President Trump, most Democrats and political pundits refuse to take the data seriously. This pattern of denial has persisted even after veteran Democrat operatives such as James Carville have frantically sounded the alarm. Rep. James Clyburn, for example, dismissed the inconvenient statistics by arguing that there was something wrong with the surveys, and I showed that video clip. There are, however, some people inside the Biden campaign who take them seriously enough to send him out on another of his quadrennial pandering tours. Again, black people are waking up in larger numbers. You see it. I think it'll be an overwhelming number of black people that'll be voting for Trump. I think it'll be the most any Republican ever received. But still, black folk overwhelmingly support Democrats and support Biden, even though they're hurting him. They're voting for someone that's continue to have them in economic turmoil, which is I don't understand that. Why wouldn't you vote for your best interest? But I digress. It goes on to say it isn't clear that it will work this time, however, as Brexit activist Madeline Brame recently said during an interview with Jesse Waters at Fox News about a recent Biden speech, quote, "It's so insulting and so racist for every other word that comes out of his mouth. Black this, black that, black this, black that. Like the only reason why we have made these so-called accomplishments is because of the color of our skin. It's not gonna fly." And Brame's attitude is by no means unique. According to CNN's Harry Eaton, Biden's black support has plummeted from 86 to 70% since 2020, while Biden's has doubled during the same time period. South Carolina Senator Tim Scott recently explained in the Hill why black voters are rejecting Biden in favor for Trump. Again, he's still going to get the vote overwhelmingly, but Biden is definitely putting a dent into that vote. I'm sorry, Trump is putting a dent into that vote. But is it enough? Will Biden lose enough of that black vote to swing the election towards Trump? I mean, it's possible. It's definitely possible. But the article goes on to say that Democrats just keep on pandering. It's not lost on black folk that only within the last few weeks, when poll after poll shows Biden trailing, that Biden has finally decided to show up in the black community. I mean, he has done absolutely nothing for the black community to speak of. Only now, like this article is saying, only now that is showing he's losing support tremendously, that he's gonna come out and do these things. I mean, I guarantee if he had the original 86%, he wouldn't be doing what he's doing right now. But are we only important when you need us? Every day there's another headline about Biden and the Democrats rethinking, relaunching, and rebranding their black voter outreach strategy. In reality, they are retreading one failed policy after another. Black voters see through it all, and that is why a great black voter realignment is well underway. I agree, it's a realignment, um, again, they still going to be that 70% that vote for Biden, vote for Biden. But one reason this seems implausible to so many Americans involves the decade-long Democrat effort to shove its well-documented history of racism down the proverbial memory hole. But it should be recalled that after the Fifth Amendment was ratified in 1870, black voters cast their ballots almost exclusively for Republicans. Nor did the advent of the New Deal completely break this bond. During the 1930s, per Pew Research, quote, black adults were just as likely to support the Republican Party as the Democrat Party. Republican President Dwight Eisenhower won 36% of the black vote in 1956. Even as late as 1960, Richard Nixon won 32% of the black vote in his race against John F. Kennedy. The Democrats believe they have a permanent lock on the black vote, having claimed for decades that they are the party of civil rights. See, that's why they feel like they don't have to do anything for the black community, because they know they automatically get that vote. Never mind that, as Thomas Sowell, and I love Thomas Sowell, has so frequently pointed out, quote, a higher percentage of Republicans than Democrats voted for the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. No one educated in our public schools and DEI infected colleges have ever exposed to these easily verifiable facts. Even if these landmark bills could indeed be attributed to the Democrats, they were passed 60 years ago, and many young black voters are understandably asking, what have you done for me lately? This is particularly true among black voters under 50, according to Enton. Said, look at this. Joe Biden was up 80 points among this group back at this point in 2020. Look at where the margin has careened down towards. It's now just gets this 37 points. That lead has dropped by more than half. I'm like speechless, because you always look at history and you go, okay, this is a historic moment. If this polling is anywhere near correct, we are looking at a historic moment right now where black voters under the age of 50, which have historically been such a big part of the Democratic coalition, are leaving in droves. And I think I might have went over that video clip before. But the Democrats have for decades depended on at least 90% of black voters to turn out and vote for their candidates. Biden is probably more dependent on their votes than most Democrats, yet their enthusiasm for him is decidedly tepid. This was the reason Hillary Clinton lost to Donald Trump in 2016. According to Pew Research, quote, the 7% point decline from the previous presidential election is the largest on record for blacks, and Biden's decline among these voters is on track to dwarf those deadly numbers. Wow. Can Biden turn it around? Even if he manages to remain upright and at least semi-coherent during the June 27th debate, he will need to do more than call Trump a convicted felon and a dictator. I agree. He will need to convince a lot of very skeptical voters of all races and creed that he can really handle the job. Again, we have experience. We've lived under Biden for almost 4 years now, and we know what he has, what his policies do to our country, and we could compare it, we could contrast it with Donald Trump. But according to a February ABC News IP Ipsos poll, quote, 86% of Americans think Biden, 81, is too old to serve another term as president. This is consistent with the findings of numerous polls, and he's not getting any younger. His opponent is no spring chicken either, but Trump has all his marbles, and his record was obviously better than Biden's. I mean, objectionably better, particularly for black voters. All they must do then is apply the Reagan principle. Are we better off now than we were 4 years ago? Joe Biden's pandering won't fool them again. But then again, there will be a majority of the black vote that he will still get. Some of the older black women still support Biden. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.